Councilwoman Thomas,
I said no to.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Okay, so before we get to the next thing, Mayor, I have a question because I've held it off because on the new business, and I'll let Jerry go first. So if I may, please. Thank you. This next stuff, I'd kind of like to have an explanation before this gets into a motion.
Yes, and I was going to ask the solicitor to clarify.
So there's several motions on here that you saw on the, or that were done at the reorganization meeting on January 6th. Subsequent to that, I believe it was the January 29th meeting, there was a motion to ratify all action that was taken at that meeting. In particular, there were several motions that were done at that reorganization meeting that after I had the chance to review those, I determined that there was not a basis to, in particular, rescind the motion to appoint Brooke Farmer to the authority and then to re-advertise for that position. So because the prior motion was to ratify all of those actions, and those should not have been ratified, we'll go through these again, specifically identifying them. And so now we have the rescinding of those prior motions with respect to the authority. So
Okay,
the authority.
stop you right there then. So what you're telling me is, if I'm wrong, and I might, because this made my head spin trying to read this, you want a mulligan. You want a do-over, because what happened on the January 6th meeting was completely wrong, so you're trying to right it here. And it's,
That's not.
but it's not legal. The motions weren't legal, am I correct? That's what you're trying to rescind
No,
here.
that's not correct.
Why, please explain this then, and why do it? Why do this then?
To make it clear and to clarify so that there's no confusion about what was in fact done and to give, once again, the public the opportunity to speak.
No, it's clear as mud now. Again, why are we going to go through these same things that were on January 6th? For what reason again?
Once again, to clarify, because there were several items, well, two items in particular, the Brooke Farmer one and the,
But that's not the first one that's here.
but once again, whenever they were ratified again at the January 29th meeting, I believe, it was ratifying all of those, so we want to clarify that two of those need to be rescinded because there was no basis to do
So
that.
why don't you just do the clarification for those two? Why did you include these other things in here?
Because once again, the motion at the 29th meeting included all of them. So that needs to be identified, breaking them out separately, so we're at least making sure that the one with respect to Brooke Farmer and advertising for the authority positions are specifically delineated, and then the other ones are specifically delineated. I guess I don't understand, what's the problem with them being on the agenda and voted on?
They've already been done. Why are you bringing them up again?
Once again, to make sure that there's no question and that there's no concern, and it ratifies all the prior actions.
There was questions and concerns way back on January 6th when it
I
happened.
understand that, and so.
And matter of
it raises
fact,
it again.
I asked you on the 29th meeting for you to give council a written opinion on all the sunshine violations that happened on the January 6th meeting. Have you done that?
You asked me for an opinion.
Yes.
And once again, you'll recall that I said that that's a matter that's in litigation.
No, I asked you for a written opinion.
Well, I just recall an opinion. You asked, and that's a matter that's in litigation, and I could not provide that at that meeting.
Did you review the January 6th
I
minutes?
have reviewed the January 6th minutes.
So what's your opinion then?
The position the city is going to take is that that was not a violation of the sunshine. Once again, it's in litigation, so we're not privy to discuss that, because as you know, we shouldn't be talking about litigation items outside of executive session. But once again, my position is that there wasn't a violation. Any violation was subsequently ratified, and it's non-issue.
And you'll put that in writing?
Yes.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
holding.
the court filings are basically what we'll have in writing once we get those filed, so.
So I have a motion to ratify and affirm the termination of Jadero Madden Cambus and Joseph R. Delfonso as city solicitor, and to appoint Watson Mundorf and Sepik LLP and Timothy Witt as city solicitor until the next reorganization meeting from the January 6th, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions on this group? Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Orchakowski,
No.
Councilman Gregor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
No.
Councilman Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Motion to ratify and affirm the expiration and termination of Judith Taylor as city administrator and to appoint Joan Harhide as city administrator until the next reorganization meeting from the January 6, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
So Judy reached out to me and says she still owed her salary for some months in question. She also says she hasn't got paid her unused sick days, her personal days, or vacation pay. And she also stated that her paycheck was wrong last time.
When did you talk to her last?
4 days ago, 5 days ago?
She probably has her check and everything in it.
So I can confirm that with her then? I'm just asking a question. She asked me to bring it up, and that's what I'm doing.
She should have it.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Call the roll.
Councilman McGregor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilor Chakowski?
No.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Motion to ratify and affirm the restriction to camera access from the January 6, 2020 reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Question.
Okay, why is there restricted camera access in the building?
Well, so I knew you were going to ask this, so I wrote down some thoughts so that I would remember.
Okay.
So we've had several internal complaints of suspected audio. Mr. Mosier confirmed, I don't remember if it was at the January 29th meeting or the February 11th meeting.
29.
Okay. That there was audio after hours, after 5 p.m. So the state authorities are investigating the matter, and the cameras in here will remain off until that investigation is complete. It raises concerns in regards to employees, and also if the audio was only activated after 5 p.m., even if it was only activated after 5 p.m., it implicates all labor negotiations and executive sessions that were held in this building from the time the cameras were installed. And we don't know if anyone has third-party access, and if they do, that's a whole other issue. So it is being investigated at this time. So that is why they are still off.
Okay.
So when they're turned back on, who has access to the camera?
Well, that's what you guys
We will,
That's
okay, so the
what I would
council
like.
will all have access to them.
Well, council will have to decide who council wants to have access.
Okay.
So
But
it'll be up to
But the
council.
council decides.
Yeah.
What's the state standard on that? Does anyone know? It was my understanding that it was just the police department was the
Well-
only person. Is that correct?
I mean, if it's used for a law enforcement purpose, and it's collecting investigative information, under the Criminal History and Records Information Act, it should only be accessible to the police department. I don't know if all of the cameras were intended to be used for law enforcement purposes, if some of them were, some of them weren't, but there should be some segmentation there, that if there's cameras that are being used for law enforcement purposes, once again, to collect investigative information, the police department are the only ones that should have access to those cameras. If it's just generally here in the building, it's up to council in terms of who council wants to have access to those cameras. Once again, no audio though, because that is a potential violation of the wiretapping act.
Was that ever posted that there was audio recording going on in here?
Just video, I believe.
Just video? There was no warning to the public about the audio?
Not that I'm aware of.
I see the signs that are up there, but there's nothing on there about audio. Interesting.
So this motion needs to change then.
Why?
Because it says to ratify and affirm the restriction to camera access. The mayor just said that all access would be turned off right now until council deems.
Well, these cameras in this building are currently turned off.
Isn't there an investigation ongoing?
That's not what this is saying.
Yeah, we're just ratifying.
We're just ratifying it.
Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Thomas?
No.
Councilman Coles?
Aye.
Councilor Chakowski?
No.
Councilman Gregor,
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to rescind and cancel the motions to rescind the appointment of Brooke Farmer and to advertise for a vacant position on the sewage authority. And I have clarification because it's worded really oddly. So we are rescinding our motion from the January 6th meeting to remove Brooke. So it's just worded really oddly.
So we're not looking to appoint anyone to that position, we're just going to vacate.
No,
We're gonna leave first.
No, don't vacate the position,
Oh.
we're just going to vacate the motion.
correct, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilman Coles? Aye. Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Councilman Gregor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Sherrod.
Yes. Okay, I'll read this